In the stillness of an ordinary morning, Maria gazed at her reflection in the mirror as she prepared for yet another day. Her weary eyes, the result of countless sleepless nights, returned a gaze that seemed to carry the weight of the world. Like so many others, she wondered why her life seemed trapped in an endless cycle of challenges and frustrations. It was then that a singular thought crossed her mind. What if the mirror before her was not merely a reflective surface, but a profound metaphor for the very nature of reality? This seemingly simple question leads us to one of humanity's oldest inquiries, the relationship between consciousness and reality. Since ancient times, various cultures and traditions have suggested that the world we experience is not a separate entity from us, but rather a dynamic reflection of our own consciousness. The ancient Vedas of India proclaimed, Yatha Pinde Tata, Brahmande, as is the microcosm, so is the macrocosm. This timeless wisdom finds astonishing validation today in the discoveries of quantum physics and consciousness research. Dr. Jacobo Grinberg Zilberbaum, in his groundbreaking studies on what he termed the synergic field, experimentally demonstrated that the human mind is not merely a passive receiver of information, but an active participant in the creation of reality. Through extensive research with Mexican shamans and advanced meditators, he documented how altered states of consciousness can directly influence the surrounding energy field, producing measurable changes in the environment. Imagine consciousness as a film projector and reality as the screen onto which the images are cast. Just as a projector determines what is seen on the screen, our consciousness, through thoughts, emotions, and beliefs, largely determines how we experience the world around us. This is not a poetic metaphor, but an accurate description of how reality operates at its most fundamental level. Quantum physicist Amit Goswami argues that consciousness is the foundation of existence, not a byproduct of it. In his experiments, he has demonstrated how the act of observation, essentially an act of consciousness, can collapse the quantum wave function, transforming possibilities into concrete realities. This phenomenon, known as the measurement problem in quantum mechanics, suggests that our consciousness plays a pivotal role in shaping physical reality. To better grasp this concept, consider how different individuals can experience the same event in radically different ways. A rainy day, for instance, might be perceived as a blessing by a farmer in need of water for their crops, an inconvenience for someone who had planned a picnic, or a romantic opportunity for a couple who cherishes the sound of rain. The objective, reality, the falling of water, remains the same, yet the subjective experience is profoundly shaped by the observer's state of consciousness. The synergistic field, as proposed by Grinberg, operates as a holographic matrix that links all individual consciousnesses into a larger network of shared meaning and mutual influence. This theory finds intriguing parallels with Rupert Sheldrake's concept of morphogenetic fields and Carl Jung's notion of the collective unconscious. Each of these models suggests a fundamental interconnectedness between mind and matter, between the observer and the observed. The implications of this understanding are both profound and revolutionary. If reality is truly a reflection of our consciousness, then shifts in how we think, feel, and perceive can literally transform the world we experience. This is not about simplistic positive thinking, but rather a fundamental shift in our understanding of the nature of reality and our role within it. Maria, standing before the mirror, was on the verge of discovering this truth for herself. Her journey of transformation would begin with a simple change in perspective. Instead of seeing the world as something that happens to her, she would begin to recognize it as something that happens through her. This seemingly subtle shift contains the seed of both personal and collective revolution. The mirror, in its eloquent simplicity, teaches us a fundamental truth. What we see is invariably a reflection. When we smile at the mirror, it smiles back. When we frown, it does the same. This is the first lesson of the synergic field. Reality responds to our consciousness with mathematical precision, faithfully reflecting the quality of our mental and emotional energy. In the chapters to come, we will explore how this understanding can be practically applied in our lives, how we can harness the knowledge of the synergic field to create positive change, and how modern science is validating these ancient truths. The journey we embark upon here is not merely intellectual, but a practical exploration of how we can become conscious co-creators of our reality. On a quiet afternoon in his laboratory, In 1801, Thomas Young conducted an experiment that would forever alter our understanding of the nature of reality. The renowned double-slit experiment demonstrated that light could behave both as a wave and as a particle, depending on how it was observed. This seemingly simple experiment opened the door to one of the greatest mysteries in quantum physics, the role of the observer in determining reality. More than 2 centuries later, physicists continue to expand our comprehension of this fundamental phenomenon. Dr. Dean Radin, through his research at the Institute of Noetic Sciences, has shown that conscious intention can influence the outcomes of quantum experiments. Their findings, published in peer-reviewed scientific journals, suggest that our consciousness is not merely a passive observer of reality, but an active participant in its creation. To grasp how this operates on a practical level, consider the experience of John, a musician who had struggled for years to establish himself professionally. For a long time, he harbored a deep-seated belief that it was impossible to make a living from music in his city. This belief acted as a filter, causing him to overlook opportunities or misinterpret potentially positive situations. The synergistic field, responding to his vibrational frequency of doubt and limitation, reflected back experiences that reinforced his convictions. Quantum physics teaches us that subatomic particles exist in a state of superposition, multiple possibilities coexisting simultaneously until they are observed. Similarly, every moment of our lives holds multiple possibilities, and our consciousness, through its beliefs, expectations, and emotional states, collapses these possibilities into concrete experiences. Dr. Bruce Lipton, in his groundbreaking studies on epigenetics, has demonstrated how our beliefs and perceptions can literally alter the expression of our genes. This revolutionary discovery suggests that our consciousness has the power to influence not only our external reality, but also our most fundamental biology. The synergistic field, therefore, operates on both the macro and micro levels, connecting our individual consciousness with all layers of reality. When John finally began working with a therapist who helped him identify and transform his limiting beliefs, something remarkable occurred. As your inner perception shifted, the synergic field began to reflect new possibilities. Opportunities for recognition started to emerge. People began to acknowledge your talent, and gradually, your external reality began to align with your new internal vibration. The concept of vibration, often associated with spiritual practices, finds scientific support in string theory, which suggests that everything in the universe is, at its core, energy vibrating at different frequencies. Our thoughts and emotions also possess specific vibrational frequencies, and through the synergic field, they attract experiences of similar frequency. Deepak Chopra, in his works on consciousness and reality, describes how our bodies are in constant communication with the quantum field through what he calls quantum non-locality. This principle explains how changes in our consciousness can produce instantaneous effects anywhere within the field, transcending the limitations of space and time. The understanding of this quantum dance between consciousness and reality leads us to a revolutionary conclusion. Each of us is an active creator of our own experience. We are not passive victims of circumstance, but artists working with the most fundamental medium of the universe, pure consciousness. In a small laboratory in California, scientists at the HeartMath Institute have made a startling discovery. The electromagnetic field of the human heart not only exists, but extends far beyond the boundaries of the physical body. Even more astonishing, this field changes dramatically depending on a person's emotional state. Positive emotions such as love, gratitude, and joy create harmonious and coherent patterns, while negative emotions produce chaotic and disorganized ones. This scientific discovery echoes an ancient truth known to mystics and sages. Our emotions are powerful forces that shape our reality through the synergistic field. They are not merely subjective internal states, but energetic frequencies that directly interact with the quantum field surrounding us. Dr. David Hawkins, in his groundbreaking work on levels of consciousness, developed a scale that measures the vibrational frequency of different emotional states. He discovered that emotions such as shame, guilt, and fear vibrate at very low frequencies, while love, joy, and peace resonate at extremely high frequencies. What is most fascinating is that these frequencies are not merely metaphorical. They can be measured and quantified using advanced biofeedback techniques. Anna, a holistic therapist, began applying this knowledge in her daily practice. She noticed that her days began to flow in a completely different manner when she dedicated the first moments of her morning to consciously cultivating elevated emotional states. Through a simple practice of gratitude and positive visualization, she created a field of coherence that seemed to attract synchronicities and positive experiences throughout the day. The synergistic field, like a sensitive and responsive matrix, amplifies and reflects back the quality of our emotions. It is as if the universe were a giant emotional mirror, returning to us the same frequency we emit. This understanding provides us with a powerful tool for personal transformation and conscious manifestation. Experiments conducted by Dr. Masaru Emoto's work with water crystals offers a striking visualization of this principle. Water exposed to positive emotions and words of love forms beautifully symmetrical crystals, while water subjected to negative emotions produces distorted and chaotic patterns. Given that our bodies are predominantly composed of water, we can begin to grasp how our emotions directly influence our physical reality in profound ways. Modern neuroscience affirms that our emotions are not confined to the brain, but a whole body. Experiences involving a complex network of neurotransmitters, hormones, and bioelectric signals. Each emotion carries its own unique biochemical signature, which impacts every cell within our body. Through the synergistic field, this influence extends beyond the boundaries of the physical body, affecting the quantum field that surrounds us. Candace Pert's groundbreaking work on the molecules of emotion has revealed that our feelings are not merely mental states, but are accompanied by biochemical counterparts that influence the entire body. Her research uncovered that receptors for these molecules of emotion are not confined to the brain but are present in every cell of the body, suggesting that emotional awareness is, in fact, a whole-body phenomenon. The practice of emotional coherence, therefore, emerges as a potent tool for conscious manifestation. When we consistently maintain elevated emotional states, we generate a resonant field that attracts experiences aligned with these frequencies. It is no coincidence that individuals who cultivate gratitude and joy often find themselves encountering even more reasons to be grateful and joyful. The shaman Don Miguel Ruiz teaches that we are masters of magic through the power of our emotions. Every emotion we nurture is akin to a spell cast into the synergetic field, generating effects that manifest in our physical reality. The key lies in becoming aware of this power and wielding it with wisdom and intention. To consciously work with the vibrational power of emotions, we must first cultivate the ability to recognize and regulate our emotional states. Techniques such as meditation, mindful breathing, and mindfulness practices help us develop this refined emotional sensitivity. The more attuned we become to our emotions, the more skillfully we can harness their creative force. Picture a spider's web glistening with morning dew, each droplet reflecting the sunlight, each strand interconnected in a pattern of perfect geometry. This image offers us a visual metaphor of the synergetic field, a living matrix of energy and information that connects all things within a unified fabric of consciousness. Dr. Ervin Laszlo, in his research on what he terms the Akashic field, provides scientific evidence for the existence of this universal information matrix. His studies suggest that the entire universe is interconnected through a quantum field that preserves and transmits information far beyond the constraints of conventional space and time. This modern understanding echoes the ancient wisdom of the Indian Vedas regarding Akasha, the primordial element from which all other elements arise. The ancient seers described Akasha as a subtle field that permeates and sustains all existence. descriptions strikingly similar to the most recent discoveries in quantum physics concerning the quantum vacuum and zero-point energy fields. The groundbreaking work of Rupert Sheldrake on morphogenetic fields offers another perspective for understanding how the synergetic field operates. Sheldrake demonstrated how patterns of behavior and form can be transmitted through a non-physical field of information, influencing the development and behavior of living systems across the planet. To grasp how this functions in practice, consider the story of Clara, an artist who began consciously exploring her connection to the synergetic field. She discovered that when she entered a deep state of creative flow, her paintings seemed to capture not only visual images, but also states of consciousness and energy that profoundly affected those who viewed them. The synergetic field functions as a kind of cosmic internet, where every thought, emotion, and intention creates ripples that propagate through the matrix, influencing the field as a whole. This understanding leads us to a new appreciation of the responsibility we hold as conscious creators of reality. Experiments conducted in consciousness research laboratories demonstrate that groups of people meditating together can create measurable effects in the field, reducing rates of crime, accidents, and violence in nearby areas. This phenomenon, known as the Maharishi effect, suggests that our collective consciousness possesses a genuine power to influence material reality. Dr. William Tiller, a professor emeritus at Stanford, has conducted groundbreaking experiments showing how human intention can be stored in electronic devices, which then continue to emit that intention even when removed from their original location. His studies indicate that the synergistic field can be programmed with conscious information that continues to influence physical reality over time. The deeper implication of this discovery is that our consciousness is not confined by the brain or physical body, but exists as a field of influence that extends across space and time. Every thought and intention we hold creates patterns within the synergistic field, patterns that continue to propagate and influence reality long after the initial moment has passed. In a remote village nestled in the Peruvian Andes, a group of shamans gathers at dawn to perform an ancient rain-calling ritual. What captures the attention of the researchers present is not merely the precision with which the rain eventually arrives, but the specific patterns of brain activity and heart coherence the shamans exhibit during the ritual. Modern science is beginning to grasp what ancient traditions have always known. Rituals are not mere superstitions, but sophisticated tools for aligning individual and collective consciousness with the synergistic field. Through specific gestures, sounds, movements, and intentions, rituals create resonant patterns capable of influencing material reality in measurable ways. Dr. Andrew Newberg, a pioneer in the field of neurotheology, has documented through neuroimaging studies how ritual and contemplative practices can literally reshape the brain, altering patterns of neural activity and even the physical structure of the cortex. These neurological changes correspond to profound shifts in how we perceive and interact with reality. In the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, advanced monks engage in tummo practices that enable them to regulate their body temperature under extreme conditions. Scientific studies have confirmed that these monks can raise the temperature of their fingers and toes by up to 8.3 degrees Celsius in freezing environments, demonstrating extraordinary control over physiological processes typically considered automatic. These examples illustrate that consciously practiced rituals can create bridges between the inner world of consciousness and the outer world of physical reality. Through the synergistic field, our focused intentions and altered states of consciousness can produce tangible effects in the material world. Regina, a skeptical executive, decided to try a simple manifestation ritual for 21 days. Every morning, she dedicated 20 minutes to meditate, visualize her goals, and cultivate an emotional state of gratitude as if she had already achieved what she desired. To her astonishment, by the end of the period, several unexpected opportunities had manifested, perfectly aligned with her visualizations. The power of rituals lies in their ability to create what anthropologists call sacred time, an altered state of consciousness where the boundaries between the inner and outer worlds become more permeable. In this state, our capacity to influence the synergetic field is greatly amplified, The regular practice of rituals also strengthens our conscious connection to the synergetic field. It is akin to developing a muscle. The more we practice, the stronger and more refined our ability to manifest intentionally becomes. Rituals act as amplifiers of intention, focusing and directing our conscious energy in specific ways. Dr. Joe Dispenza, through extensive research involving brain scans and biometric measurements, has demonstrated how specific meditative practices can create states of coherence between the heart and brain, facilitating the manifestation of intentions within the quantum field. His studies document remarkable cases of spontaneous healing and personal transformation through these practices. We now arrive at the practical core of our exploration, a 7-day experiment designed to directly demonstrate how the synergistic field responds to our consciousness. This protocol, developed through years of research and refinement, integrates elements of neuroscience, positive psychology, and ancient contemplative practices. The experiment is structured around 3 core components: mindful preparation in the morning state maintenance throughout the day, and evening integration. Each element has been meticulously designed to foster maximum coherence between intention, emotion, and action. In the morning, before engaging with the external world, we dedicate 20 minutes to establishing our vibrational frequency. This includes 5 minutes of conscious breathing to calm the nervous system and enter a receptive state, 10 minutes of detailed creative visualization, vividly imagining the day unfolding in an ideal manner, 5 minutes of emotional anchoring, cultivating and amplifying feelings of gratitude and joy. Throughout the day, we employ micro-practices, brief pauses every 2 hours to reconnect with our intention and realign our vibrational frequency. These pauses need not be lengthy. 30 seconds of conscious breathing and reconnecting with a positive emotional state are sufficient. At night, before going to sleep, we dedicate 10 minutes to integration. We review the events of the day, paying special attention to synchronicities and manifestations aligned with our intentions. We practice specific gratitude for 3 positive events, no matter how small they may seem. We consciously release any resistance or judgment toward events that appeared misaligned. The power of this protocol lies in its ability to create and maintain conscious coherence throughout the day. It's like tuning a radio. When we keep our vibrational frequency consistent and elevated, the synergistic field responds by reflecting experiences of a similar frequency. Marina, a skeptical participant in the first test group, reported a series of unlikely coincidences as early as the 3rd day of the experiment. Professional opportunities she had been seeking for months began to materialize, and challenging relationships started to flow with greater harmony. The key to the success of this experiment is consistency. There's no need to dedicate long hours to complex practices. What matters is the quality of our attention and the conscious maintenance of elevated vibrational states throughout the day. As Dr. Joe Dispenza explains, it is sustained coherence, not momentary intensity, that creates lasting changes in the quantum field.